Okay, I'm here again to talk about the things that are going on in the world. Horrible things that are happening to Christians in the world today. First thing I want to talk about is a Greek evangelist that faces prison time for proselytizing. It says, a Christian evangelist in Greece has been sentenced to 4 months in prison and fined €840 for sharing the gospel. After a trial, authorities in Crete convicted Damavalides Emmanuel, a Pentecostal Christian, for violating a law against proselytizing. Sorry if I didn't pronounce his name right. That's kind of a tough one. The Greek Orthodox Church is country's official church and is protected by the nation's laws, supposedly. It says, in 2006, Emmanuel shared his faith with another man and convinced him to embrace Pentecostalism. Last week, the Court of Appeals upheld Emmanuel's conviction. Emmanuel's attorney said the ruling shows there is no freedom of religion or speech for Christians who do not belong to the state church. This is a very sad day for freedom of religion. In Greece, the court's decision reinforces the belief that freedom of religion and freedom of speech do not exist in Greece for evangelical Christians, says Vasilios Serbas, an international human rights attorney. Let's say this is horrible. He's been put in prison and forced to pay a fine for preaching about Christ. For being a Christian, basically, is what it is. We're being punished for being Christians. How long will it be before it's here in the United States as well? There's another one. This is more on the pastor in Iran who's facing execution. It says, lawyers fear Iran concocting case against pastor. It says, news reports are surfacing that imprisoned pastor Youssef Nadarkhani was questioned by Iranian officials Wednesday about his case and the charges he's facing. Present Truth Ministries, which has worked closely with Nadarkhani throughout his trial, said a group from Tehran came to interview the pastor. It says, it's unclear what their intentions were or what was said, but the American Center for Law and Justice warned the meeting may not be a positive development. They said, we are concerned that Iran could be attempting to put together a case against him, manipulating his own words in order to prove false new allegations against him. No, they're wanting to execute him, and they're wanting to think of anything. First off, they was trying to say that he committed apostasy. Okay? Number one, you can't turn on your religion, which is Islam in the case, if you never were Islamic. It wasn't anything. He didn't follow any religion until he became a Christian. So therefore, he was always a Christian. Since he's had a religion, he's been a Christian. Which it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. That apostasy law is just another law, another Sharia law. And they are just taking it way too far. If you want to be a Christian, you should be allowed to be a Christian. We don't go around yet telling people that they must be a Christian, and if they turn to any other religion, that we're going to have them executed. Or it's ridiculous. It's sick. It's sickening. If you're going to have a law that requires execution, it should be, in my opinion, it should be murder or raping a child or molesting a child or something like that. Not being a Christian. That is ridiculous. It says that Nader Khani has been convicted of apostasy from Islam and can be executed at any time, but a statement on the Iranian embassy's website in London says the court has not issued a verdict. So they haven't issued a verdict yet. They're putting it off until they can make up something better that they won't feel so bad about executing him. They think if they find something better to charge him with, that the world will leave him alone. I'm sorry. Hello. The world's standing up for this guy. He's Christian. That is his crime in that country, in Iran. His crime, the reason he's there is because he's a Christian. There's no other reason other than that. They can make up what they want, they can say what they want, but they just want to kill him because he's a Christian. And that is the flat, brutal truth that they're trying to hide. It's sad. So sad. I also have a number here. It says to voice your concerns now to the Iranian embassy. You can call the Iranian liaison office in the U.S. State Department. The number is 202-647-6575. That is, if you have a concern, if you want to know what's going on, if you want to just state your concern about Pastor Youssef, call that number. Tell him you don't think he should be murdered, which is what it is, for being a Christian. Next on the list here, this really got to me right here. And it says, Nigeria Muslims killing entire Christian families. Now, this is really sad. I'm going to read it to you. I keep up with Christian news, and I know that some of you out there don't. So that's why I'm making these videos, so that some things that you might not know that's going on in the world, all you got to do is go to my channel, check it out. It says, more than 100 Nigerian Christians have died at the hands of Muslim extremists within the last month, according to Compass Direct News. Most recently, the persecution news source said 5 Christians in Niger State were killed September 22nd. In the week prior, 3 others were killed in Kaduna, including a 13-year-old girl. A 13-year-old little girl. Eyewitnesses told Compass Direct that militants, possibly from the Boko Haram Islamic group, went to Christian shops ordering owners to recite verses from the Quran. Those who didn't obey were killed. A spokesman for the Niger State Police Command confirmed the deaths and also said the group was responsible for recent bombings of Christian sites. The killings are described as hit-and-run guerrilla attacks that, in some cases, have eliminated entire families. Earlier in September, 14 Christians were killed. One of them was a pregnant woman. A pastor of a Church of Christ in Nigeria told Compass Direct his village has been attacked 3 times since he arrived 8 months ago. Survivors say they believe the Islamic extremists are recruiting nomadic Muslims known as Fulanis to carry out attacks. Now tell me, seriously, this is not right. It is not right for someone to go into a shop in a public place and expect the Christians to know anything that is said in the Quran. Why would they? We read the Bible. We don't read the Quran. It's just an excuse to kill. It's barbaric. It's inhuman. It's ridiculous. And it's disgusting. A 13-year-old girl. A pregnant woman. It disgusts me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Well, I get it because I knew that It was all going to come down to this. And it's just a matter of time before it's here in the United States as well. Because that's what's supposed to happen. The last one I want to tell you about is, this one's about Israel, what's going on in Israel. It says, misinformation affecting the peace process. It says, Israel is again facing accusations of trying to sabotage the peace process. The criticism centers on plans to build in Jerusalem, but Israel says the controversy is based on misinformation. The international firestorm ignited when Israel announced plans for more than 1,000 new housing units in Gilo, Jerusalem's third largest neighborhood. Gilo is just a few miles from the center of Jerusalem. Some 40,000 Israelis live in the quiet community. The area is widely referred to as a settlement, but Israel says it's just another neighborhood. Gilo is definitely not a settlement. No way. It's just one of the three largest neighborhoods of Jerusalem. Jerusalem Deputy Mayor Naomi Sir told CBN News. Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon told journalists Israel has a right and a need to build there. Of course they do. Jerusalem belongs to Israel. Always has. You can see that last bit was my opinion. My opinion. Since you can see, we are here in the heart of a pulsating, vibrant city, Elon said. You look out to the west, you look to the east, you look to the south, you see all around us is building. This is a neighborhood that is an integral part of Jerusalem, he added. Okay, listen to this. It says, Gilo is mentioned in the Bible during the time of King David, but Palestinians and much of the world consider the neighborhood part of what they call East Jerusalem. That term broadly refers to any part of the city that was under Jordanian control from 1948 to 1967. But Sir says that's where the misunderstanding starts. Because our neighborhoods are so intertwined, we often forget that a neighborhood such as Gilo is on the west side of the northwest axis. If we cut through Jerusalem, it's southwest of the city, she explained. And Palestinians want this area as part of their future capital. For Israel, that's off the table. This is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It cannot be divided, and it will not be divided, Elon said. And it's very unfortunate that from faraway places, people are trying to judge and depict a picture that is completely unrealistic. So what do you think? Do you agree? I do. I totally agree. Jerusalem belongs to Israel. It has always belonged to Israel. Since Israel has been there, it has always belonged to it. Jerusalem was always the holy city, the capital of Israel. Always. There was no, this part belongs somewhere else, this part belongs somewhere else. All of Jerusalem belongs to Israel, and they shouldn't waver on that. They shouldn't give in to that. Because you can't split it up. Palestine needs to quit being greedy and try to take over a state and a city that never belonged to them to begin with. They need to back off. They claim they want peace, but they don't want to compromise. All they want to do is take half of Jerusalem from Israel when it's always been theirs. You can't do that. It's ridiculous. It's just another excuse for them to take something that belongs to God. Take something that belongs to God's people. It's just horrible. Every day I get on the news and I see these stories about Christians being killed or somebody being executed or bombing something. It's depressing. But all of us as Christians know what this all means. know what it's coming to, and knows that soon we will finally get to be with Christ. Well, I'm going to leave y'all with that thought, and I hope y'all have a beautiful day. God bless you. Love and hugs to all. I'm out.